Linux Out Loud is jacking into the matrix, firing up our mics, connecting those headsets, and dodging proprietary bullets. I'm Wendy, joined by my fellow rebels, Matt and Nate. We are three friends sitting around virtual constructs, talking Linux, open source, tech, gaming, and everything in between. The banter may bend the rules of reality. The conversations may glitch off topic, but we're here to have fun doing it. This week, we're choosing to red pill and diving into what we've been up to on this chaotic break. Welcome to episode 114 of Linux Out Loud. Well, long time no see. It's been a little over a month since we were together last. And Matt, you're going to kick us off with an excellent start with Game of the Week already. Normally you save that until later.
Yeah,
No, I'm the one who is off. I'm reading the show notes wrong. So that'll actually come later.
Are you reading backwards?
I might be reading backwards. I'm already glitching out in this matrix.
I can see that.
You've got drones and some land you're looking into.
Yeah, so kind of doing the adult thing, unfortunately. So I've never been a big drone guy. It's just never been my.
It's never a bad time to start.
I drone on, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, we know. I mean,
says the person who will drone on about robotics. Okay.
Hey, I literally have a shirt that says "Warning: May randomly talk about robotics," so I don't deny it.
Randomly? I don't think there's any random.
Consistently, does that work?
When do you talk about robotics as much as Linux has uptime? So all the time.
I resemble that remark. Yes.
Anyway,
well, is that static or rolling release Linux? Because we should probably establish.
I would say with the way my year has been going, it feels more like a rolling release with all the bugs that go with it.
I was going to say, that's because you keep getting run over.
Literally, yes.
But yes, I am looking at, I have picked up a couple of drones recently. One is, they're very low cost. I think one was $200 and I got that's coming shortly. And then I picked up one that was $79, give or take right now. Realistically, it's just to scout some about 10 acres of land that I'm looking at purchasing up back where I'm from. And where it is, it's just not the most accessible piece of land to get to via road. You have to, it's either hike in or ATV in kind of land. So, so this is for surveying and kind of the pre-purchase conditioning nonsense to get through when I go back up here in about a week or so. So that's kind of what these were purchased for. It's a whole lot cheaper than, I'm not saying I'm self-surveying, but it's more for just overall view of kind of the area that I'm looking at purchasing. So,
get the basic lay, make sure what you see from the drones looks good, and then if you need to, you can go from there.
Yeah.
So the second one that you have, and I'm not sure exactly which one Magneto has, but it's very similar to the second one that you have listed, this $99 one. And I don't remember how much his was, but it does have the remote, which then you connect to your phone. You use your phone as the screen instead of the remote having its individual screen. And it's done really well for us. It doesn't go out very often.
That is what the Meta drone, I think.
Yeah.
So the thing I liked about this one is, and my biggest issue with drones in general is always the, at least when I used to hear them talked about a lot, it was like flight zone restrictions and all this other of nonsensical stuff that I hate talking about or hearing about, because people are idiots and, oh, let's go fly this in front of an airport or something.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like DJI and all the kind of the big drone players had all these weird restrictions on what you could and couldn't do based on FFA laws, and a lot of it was tracked via GPS. This particular model has no GPS. that was the intent.
And I think
Because
his does, in the fact that like you can set it to re-land where it takes off.
Mhm. So
So it does have the homing feature.
yeah, so the bigger the more expensive model that are in the show notes, the $200 one, that one does have all the GPS stuff. The difference
Okay.
is it it doesn't rely on the phone. It has its own controller and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There is a phone app that you can use if you want to, but um, I thought the fact that it had its own controller and all that stuff was fantastic. I figured for some of the stuff I'm going to need, the circling of the 360 panorama kind of stuff that it could do,
Right.
that was key. And the price point
Yeah.
was well worth kind of the investment. Am I going to use them a ton? Probably not. But on 10 acres
Right.
of solid Maine wilderness land, I might, might use them more than I think. So I don't know.
You might need it so you
Yeah.
don't get lost again.
Nate, I only got lost when I showed up here because you're here.
I thought that you told me to get lost. Is that something different?
Oh, it must be something different.
It didn't work, so apparently I need to get lost. Again, I'm not a big drone guy. I'm not a big, like, a lot of this stuff is just not of area of interest. These are very photographer kind of, or like videographer kind of stuff. Like, that's what generically I view them as for. For me, this is like their one purpose, and I don't know how often I'll use them or if I'll ever use them again.
Are you gonna build and live in a treehouse? Because that's what I'm hoping for.
No, Nate, but the closest I'll give you is a log cabin. Is that better?
In a
I'm
tree?
struggling to see you living in a log cabin. Like, can I picture it? No.
Why? Just because of like my obsession with like things that have screens.
Yeah.
You can have screens in a
yeah.
log cabin or a treehouse. Have you seen
Right,
some
like
of
if
those
it's
like
an
really
upgraded
elaborate
one.
tree houses
Okay,
that are like homes
Okay.
built in trees, like
So-
modern homes?
so Nate, I don't know if you know this or Wendy, you'll know this. This is not camping with Steve.
I don't know that one.
I think Wendy does. Just by the chuckle there. He is a guy that does stealth camping in various spots, but he also built a tree house. He bought a homestead, and instead of gutting the homestead, the first thing he did on his land was go and build a tree house to camp in.
Because,
Because
not saying that I wouldn't mind living a treehouse, but you live pretty far north. And so I can't imagine that having a modern plumbing, like not freeze in a treehouse, would be a little difficult.
That's why
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
that could be problematic. Things could get stopped up.
Yes, they could.
Now, I think probably on the way down is not an issue, but on the way up could be an issue unless you really wrap that sucker and maybe put some heat tape in it.
A lot of heat tape on it. Yeah.
Well, depending on how cold does it get there in Maine? Like negative what?
depends where you live, specifically in Maine. I mean, if you're up by Caribou and up that direction,
Where you're looking to build or
That
buy
would-
or whatever.
that would be more central Maine, so Augusta kind of area. It 4 or 5 months of winter, you're talking 0 degrees, negative degrees. Like, it all depends on wind chill and wind and
Right. Yeah.
Take your
Yeah.
whole
And the
log.
and the year, because some years are
the,
better than others.
the length of time you're looking at winter. You mean?
Yeah,
You're probably
like how
talking.
much?
You're probably 5
4
months.
5 months. Wow.
It usually starts in end of October. Usually goes
Yeah.
away. Starts going away beginning of April, give or take.
I mean, I guess that's pretty close to Michigan too. But I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes it starts like in November, sometimes October. We've had it go away by March, but it's not like harsh
Depends
winter,
on the year.
most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like harsh winter stops probably in March, unless you're like super high north near Canada. But anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, so no treehouse currently, Nate.
Okay,
Because we
he's
will
like a
see.
treehouse kind of guy. So he's up in the air, talking about something.
Nope, gonna be good. Gonna be good.
You don't know how.
Yeah, says you.
I'm the good one. I behave. I behave. sometimes.
Notice the percentage went away as soon as he started to give one.
So here's
Well,
the thing. When I try to keep bad jokes or stuff like that to myself, it was last time, I can't even remember what Magneto said. But I was just like thinking it to myself and shaking my head like, don't say it. He's like, what? What's going on? And I said it, and then he goes, you're terrible. And I'm like, well, you asked. You're
That's
muted.
the sad that's the sad truth, isn't it?
Right?
But but yeah, so that's what I'm looking to use those particular drones for. Total purchase price is probably about $250, $300, give or take. The
Yeah.
$200 one I had a $50 coupon for. I think there's a $75. I think the other one's $100, but there's a $20 coupon currently. I can't say for the first one because I've already messed around with it. Or the second one for a price on the low end. If you're looking just to mess around with a drone, that's probably a great starter kind of drone if you want to get into it. It does have a lot of whiz bang features and all that stuff, but for $79, you get two batteries. What was it? Two batteries, propeller replacements. So all that stuff. The controller's not great, but it's not terrible. So works for what I need it for. So we will see how well they hold up when I take them up to Maine here in a couple of weeks. So
I don't expect you to share pictures on the show, but I would love to see pictures.
I'm hoping for some vlog style videos of you trudging your way through the woods, and then the drone like hits a branch and goes flying off, and that's like the end of the video. That's what I really want.
Okay, that we might have to share on the show.
anyway, while I am trying to buy pieces of land and using drones and whatnot, Nate, it seems Thunderbird is still your personal information manager jam again. Shock.
Well, it's my new one again. So that's probably about a year ago or so. I switched away from K-Mail to Thunderbird for a while, then went back to K-Mail after I got the K-Mail things figured out. Well, K-Mail stopped behaving for me again. Now, mind you, I have a history with K-Mail. I've been using it since 2004 as my personal information manager. I've used it through one of my careers I had for about 5 years heavily. And it's what kept me organized and on task, and was able to communicate because of the way when you complete a task, how it would create I could create a log from that and everything else. And so I could supply my management with my boss essentially with this is what I worked on, and I could create like great summaries from it. Now, I can't do that with Thunderbird now, but it had a great tool for this. Well, it stopped pulling email no matter what I did. I eliminated like the resource and brought it back, but I couldn't pull email. I did updates. I did everything, every trick that I had in my sleeve of troubles I had with Kmail. It just would not respond. Also, the calendar would stop synchronizing, or it would like only sometimes synchronize when it felt like it. And so it was causing me to miss appointments and so forth, which not good. And also, they had an Exchange module in there, like for like Microsoft Exchange email, and that was very crashy. And so that was kind of that would have been a nice to have, but never actually got it working. It would give me notifications, and if I click the notification, it would crash, stuff like that. So the two things were, well, not being able to check my email. That's kind of and I didn't notice it for a couple of days essentially, which was a problem because notifications is how I respond. And then the calendar stopped synchronizing. That one was more obvious when I put stuff like in my calendar on the phone, and then it wasn't on my computer. I'm like, well, what is going on here? So again, I pulled every trick that I knew, and it wasn't working for me. And I said, well, I've used Thunderbird before. I was mostly happy with it. I'm going to try it again. And I already had since I already had spent some time with it and was semi-comfortable with it, I decided I would just do it again. And it did require some modifications to get it to work. And there's I actually do have an article on CubeLate.com, of course. It's a daily driving Thunderbird that I used to share my experience. But, I didn't really want to leave Kmail contact because of my history with it, but I needed something that I could use more reliably. And that's really what it boiled down to. And so I fixed the time format because it doesn't recognize what the plasma time, regional time settings. It does not work with that. So I had to set it manually. that was kind of annoying. Not a big deal, just annoying. But I did just there's some other like little things too that I had to customize. And I do have that in my article. The other thing too is like by default it doesn't have the plasma window frame, and someone might think, oh well, why would you want that? That just takes up space. I said, well, because it actually has utility for me, and I use that utility all the time as far as managing my windows and how I want them to behave. I need the plasma container for that. Essentially, no other desktop does what plasma does. I need it. So if it doesn't have that, it's annoying. And I do let some applications that are not as critical not have it. But anyway, so I did enable that as well. So what I've determined though is the mail view in plasma in Thunderbird is pretty fantastic. All things considered, what's pretty neat about it is in one single viewing pane, essentially one single sheet of glass, I can see all my folders, my mail, the actual content, and then also my agenda beside it, and that's pretty great. Now the keyboard navigation of Thunderbird is not as slick as Kmail. Not a big deal, but it's fine, whatever. But what I will say about Thunderbird is it's been very reliable for me. It pulls in my mail without any problems. I don't have to wait a long time for the database backend to do whatever it's got to do. It just works reliably and efficiently. So I'm very happy with that. Also, reliable calendar. I'm able to sync my Google Calendar, so it's how I coordinate with somebody to make sure things are happening the way they should. And so the fact that now synchronizes reliably and appointments don't disappear off of there or don't synchronize or I can't communicate back out has really improved some of the stressors in my life. So that has been really fantastic. Then also, it's called Owl for Exchange. Thunderbird is quite the ecosystem of add-ons and plugins. I think somehow it feels very Firefoxy to me. So I guess it's a Mozilla product. But anyway, so the add-on that I added, and I do pay for this. It's not a free add-on, but this Owl for Exchange has made it so I can integrate all my Microsoft Exchange stuff for work right into Thunderbird. So now I can overlay my calendar for work and my calendar for my kids' school events and everything else that I do all in one. So I can see it like the agenda on the side or in the calendar view. I can see everything. And that has actually been pretty great as far as like now I'm no longer double booking myself on something because I didn't check both calendars. So this is going great. Because I've been doing that quite a bit, double booking things, and that's been a problem. So all these things have just been absolutely awesome. And then there's a plus on that. And I think I've talked about Obsidian as my note-taking application I use personally. There's a note-taking integration for Thunderbird. So like, let's say I want to turn that email into a note very quickly. I just click on the little Obsidian button. It creates a note, a markdown file for Obsidian automatically. So I have to do no additional work. I did have to modify it too to have it use dates that make me happy. So pretty much either on ISO dates, so year, month, day, or the day, month. So like the short month, so JUN for June, and then 4-digit year. I either want one of those. I do not like year slash, month slash day slash year. I do not like that format. It's out of order. I can't sort that. It doesn't work with me. I've never liked
All
it.
of my picture stuff gets sorted in year, month, day, and inside of that, it has the tags for like whatever was taken. But yes, I definitely prefer that format as well.
Right. I don't know why we're so stuck on the month, day, year. We need to get away from that in the US. It's a silly format. Stop it. Get some help.
Right. And I want to also comment on Owl. You say you pay for this, but like this is so incredibly reasonable. It's just under $12 a year, US dollars.
Yeah. So, and also it pays for development. He's actually one of the I think one of the developers for Thunderbird anyway. So it supports the development of Thunderbird. And I'm using it for work anyway. I could probably get work to pay for it if I really wanted to, but it's $10.
Right.
I don't really care. It helps them out. And also, I'm doing it as kind of another like testing because I have some ideas. Like, all right, I'm trying to find ways to replace everything Windows at work for different workstations. Probably not going to get there anytime soon, but I'm getting closer to that point. There's a couple other little things, and I think I might have it in the next few months. We'll see.
Well,
but anyway,
I mean,
that's
to be fair, with the way the latest update for Windows 11 is messing up solid state drives, that might be a little easier to like push. We'll see.
It could be. The problem is we still have some Windows software that's hard to break from.
Yeah, that does make it
Um,
hard. Mm-hmm.
and this just as an aside, I have crossover Linux on my system. I've been paying for it. Actually, I've been um, an advocate for crossover Linux since like almost 20 years now. So I've been working
Yeah.
with that project for a long time. So I do bug reports, beta testing sometimes. And anyway, so Obsidian integration, Owl. So I get Microsoft Exchange. I got my Google integration, and it's been a very reliable, great application. It's been using it for about a month now ish, a little over a month, and it's really it's really changed my life. No, it's not. It's made my life a lot less painful. I mean, my life is already a pain. My existence is a pain, but this has taken some of the edge off of that pain, and so I'm able to better make these things all work together. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's been great, and I like it. Now, I do want to say it's not without its rough edges. So this is where I'm probably going to like set somebody off. You know, they're going to be yell at their something screen, audio device, pod catcher thing. But anyway, so the one hang up with it is it's GTK based. And the fact of the matter is GTK looks dated. It just does compared to Plasma. And someone say, "Oh no way, GTK is way nicer." Like, in your world, that's fine. If you think it's nicer, great, good for you. But I don't like how it looks. I think Qt just looks better. It has just a cleaner overall appearance to it. And so it is GTK based. So something about it just has kind of a cluttery feel about it that I don't really know. I can't really put my finger on it, but it's just a GTK thing. It's not huge. It just has that GTK just to me looks 10 years older, even with a new Adwaita theme. It just looks older. Um, it's fine. It's not bad. It's not a serious problem. It does integrate with theme wise into my desktop environment, no problem. That somehow pulls forward. So everything looks good enough. Also, multi-monitor fractional scaling makes GTK applications kind of lose their mind a little bit, and that's unfortunate. So if since I have screens with different pixel densities, so sometimes the dialogues when they pop up, they look all goofy unless I resize them, or I got to move them to another monitor so they don't look goofy. It's not a deal breaker. It's not a huge deal. It is annoying, and I'm sure someone's working on it, but whatever, I can deal with that. Or sometimes like it'll pop in and it'll be it won't recognize something correctly, and so the window will be kind of goofily shaped, goofily. That's a new word. Will look goofy, and then it'll fix itself. So it just has a rough kind of appearance to it, and maybe because it's happening on Plasma, maybe because it's Wayland, I don't know. But GTK apps just, I know I had the similar issue with LibreOffice being GTK based as well, having a hard time with Wayland. So anyway, there's just some rough edges. I tried doing some like forcing it to use X Wayland instead of Wayland for the compositor or whatever. Yeah, compositor, and that didn't fix anything. Again, there are slight rough edges. They're not deal breakers. It's less of a rough edge than using Outlook on Windows. So if you can tolerate Outlook on Windows, it's not that bad. So um, it's just me being picky, being a little pedantic. I don't know. Anyway, it's been great. I'm very happy with it. Overall, I give it a 9 out of 10, and maybe things will kind of smooth out over time. But those visual issues, those have been a problem since the last time I used it too. So I don't see those getting cleared up anytime soon. But anyway, so if you have a complicated life that you try and jam lots of things into, and you have to schedule stuff out, live and die by your calendar, and you have work calendar, personal calendar, a Linux calendar, things like that, community calendar. This is a great solution for that, because you can't do it with the Google. You can't do it with your online applications. Will not do what Thunderbird will do. And maybe there's some other applications out there that could do what Thunderbird does, but there seems to be a lot of momentum behind the Thunderbird project. And right now, it's been a quality of life enhancement for my day to day.
Nice. Yes. And I am definitely one of those people that lives and dies by my calendar. Like, literally, if it's not on there and it doesn't have like 3 notifications, hey, warn me the day before, warn me like 2 hours before, and 30 minutes before, like, things just, they don't happen. So if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't happen.
Now, what's the agenda on the side, so I can very quickly, if I'm hitting a meeting or if I'm looking at my email, I can see what's coming up next, and anything
That
that's
is nice.
passed, it ghosts out just ever so slightly,
Yeah.
and so I can see just at a quick glance. You have to kind of train your eyes a little bit, which is kind of the problem with the application. But once you train yourself to look at that, the single pane, it makes a world of difference.
Because you can just see at a glance what's coming up next. Yeah.
Yep, I go, oh, Linux Out Loud recording tonight. Oh, look at that. Huh. Weird.
And you're here. Yay.
And I made it.
Not necessarily on time, but you made it.
Well, it had been like 2 or 3 weeks since I rebooted this machine. 2 weeks. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to. It's probably not a problem, or whatever. But I didn't want to have something happen during the show where I was recording, getting ready to record, and then Matt, you be, you, and then do what you do. That irritates me. So I just thought I would reboot it now. And I was on time because it was 30 seconds until we're supposed to meet. So I made it.
I would never give your OS of choice any crap whatsoever, Nate.
Never.
Don't say anything to upset the chameleon.
Why is he going to get more green with envy?
It might change colors. It might turn blue. Or a shade of purple. I don't know.
One of those.
So then we won't tell that particular person that your second favorite OS is Steam OS, which is Arch.
No, Bazite.
Still based on... No, that's
Fedora.
based on Fedora.
Fedora.
Yeah.
Fedora, yeah. Yeah, yes, Fedora. There's no shame in my Fedora game. It just only appears itself in Bazite.
Does your Steam Deck still run Arch? Yes or no?
Yes. So it dual boots. And I prefer the Bazite, but my nephew and my oldest, I after running Bazite in a dual boot state on it, they're like, no, don't do that. That's a huge mistake. And then they kind of made like this big deal. Like, fine, whatever. Just go ahead. I'll use the Ready One Player or whatever it's called. What is it called?
One X player.
That
1X player.
Ready One Player. And then you can use a Steam Deck, even though the Steam Deck is, I think, a little bit better for my big sausage fingers. So, my lanky sausage fingers. But anyway, yeah.
And honestly, I'm kind of surprised because I figured they would want the 1X player because technically, from a spec perspective, that has more RAM and more storage by default.
The big reason I like the Ready One Player is it has a USB-A slot on the top also, so I can pop in. Well, it's USB-C top and bottom, and USB-A on the top, so I can put my little tiny SanDisk 512 gig storage on the top of there, which has like my PS2 games that I ripped recently, so I can play PS2 on there. And I realized, PS2 is actually pretty darn good. And my characters don't need individual fingers; they can have the mitten hands. That's totally fine. I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
So enough about mutton chops. Wendy, it looks like you are doing some changes to your network.
Yes, I'm doing changes to the network. So I still have Starlink. It's probably been the most reliable internet ISP I've ever had. But I was able to add T-Mobile. So there's the T-Mobile right here, if you can see it here in the background. So Starlink T-Mobile.
Hey, that router looks familiar.
Yeah, it looks familiar. Big chunky one. So I was able to add that.
Do they ever like get into fights? Like if you're not paying attention, they like hop over and like start to like duke it out with their antennas or anything like that?
No, I haven't had any issues like that. But both of them. So there's one Wi-Fi network right now currently running on this, but it's hidden. And this one, I don't have any Wi-Fi coming out of it at all. both of them are routed directly into my Synology router right here. And
Hmm.
thanks to a little conversation with Bill, I can do that because on this Synology router, it's the RT2600AC. You can take the first LAN port and turn it into a second WAN port. And then in settings, I can
Oh,
do load balancing. So I have both of
sweet.
them going into that router and currently doing a load balancing setup. Now, originally, what I wanted to do with those was to bond the networks. So that still has to go out to a VPS. In order to do that, you've got services that you can do that. Speedify is like the biggest one. And it kind of took me down the rabbit hole of this open source project that is Open MPTCP router. I know that's a mouthful, but basically, it's a way that you can do your own bonding of multiple networks with your own VPS, however you set that up. Have I had time to do any of that? No. And now I'm trying to decide if I'm actually going to, because the advantage of the second internet coming into the house as well is if I need it, I can just pack it up and take it with me. The internet at the build room is not great. And so if I've got editing to do, and which files have to be uploaded, downloaded, whatever, like I literally can't move files there. And so I have the business plan for my cell phone. So I do have like 100 gigs of hotspot data per month. Um, but if I'm doing a lot of moving stuff with the show, like that ekes out pretty fast. That's what I've been using. And with this, I can just pack it up and take it with me, connect it there. It's been working fine. I edited the show on Thursday last week with that, maybe this Thursday as well. And then today, my little robotics team had a webinar that they were sitting in on. And instead of relying on that crappy internet, I just brought the T-Mobile internet router, got it hooked up. We watched the webinar, no issues, no glitches, everything was quite nice. But what isn't playing nice is the Proton VPN. And I just got it again. I've had VPNs in the past. I was getting one set up again. I do like Proton. I like the openness. I like their security stuff. And so was going to throw it on this router because this supports, I can't remember what the protocol is, but the one open protocol for VPNs. And
OpenVPN or
yes,
WireGuard?
it supports, well, this one supports OpenVPN, but Proton
Okay.
has WireGuard and OpenVPN. So I originally pulled the configuration file, and there was, down at the end, there was something it didn't like. I changed it so then it accepted that OpenVPN configuration file the Synology did, but it can't connect. And I don't know if it's an issue with the Synology right now, but I was also doing some reading even before I got Protein VPN that if you're doing load balancing on a router, that it may not play very well with a VPN. And that's where a service like Speedify, which is built and can do that, might be the better way to go. But I'd really prefer to use an open one that has a really, really good history of security and all of that with it. So I'm within that 30-day guarantee. And so I might actually have to act upon that because I want it on the router, right? I don't want to individually in-house connect all of devices. I want it to just run off the router the way that the load balancing does. It just kind of takes care of all of that for me. And that way the network is as good as it can be without combining the networks. Both seem to be running pretty gosh dang smoothly. Been happy with both of them and the way they're working. I'm sure if I had a newer router with a newer CPU and that stuff in it, because this one's getting tired. Like it's a really good router, but I've been running it for years. It's getting tired, and maybe that would be slightly better because I do have Cat 6 on both of those running into the router, so it's as fast as it can be at this point for those things. But it also has me thinking a little bit more of some of those open source router firmwares that you can put on because I have run OpenDDWRT in the past on an Asus router that I had, which was absolutely fantastic. So I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to go. Bill has recommended a really nice router that I've also been looking into some other ones that have the open source firmware. I know for sure, regardless, they have to do the load balancing. There is an app that can turn Wi-Fi completely off on this one, and I've thought about it. The biggest warning that I saw on that, if you do it, take it from hidden to just off, is sometimes it can stall at boot. And that's an issue when I'm unplugging it and plugging it back in at the build room, right? Because that is something I already seem to be doing on a fairly regular basis. So I've got some network stuff going on. Not entirely sure where I'm going to end up with that. Am I going to bond them? Maybe, maybe not. If I do, is that going to mess things up when I do pull the T-Mobile router or not? I don't know. We'll see, but that's where I'm at. I'm pretty sure that I'll have another conversation with Bill from the time that this comes out to the next show and kind of update you on what's going on. But that's the current status of my network.
Sweet. So now you're saying the router's too old. Is that the Synology router that you're saying is a little bit long in the tooth? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the Synology
Okay.
router's a little long in the tooth. So I bought it used like right after we started doing, I think it was Hardware Addicts. Maybe it was this show. I know like it was right in that time range. So I've been running it for at least 5 years, and then it wasn't new when I bought it.
Okay.
And it's definitely like I haven't had too many glitches with it. I did have to do a full reset on it here 2 weeks ago because it was doing some funky things, and I do make sure that it's staying up to date, right? It has auto updates on the Synology router to make sure that it's constantly getting whatever security patches are available, and Synology is still doing security patches for it. They definitely haven't left it behind. But I think it's about time for that one to get an upgrade.
Well, you don't have wireless B on there, so that would be a problem, right? I'm kidding.
Right.
That's no.
No. Yeah, definitely not an issue there. And because I don't have like both of them doing Wi-Fi, it's all coming from the router for the most part. I haven't had any issues with interference in devices and all of that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So that's
That makes
been
sense.
pretty nice. Hmm. And still inside of Synology, I can go ahead and say, hey, I need this thing to have a static IP. So typically I'll do that for my 3D printers,
Right.
for my regular printers, that kind of stuff. I don't want those changing. But otherwise, like everything else in the
So
house can be pretty flexible.
do you assign it statically from the router, or do you set them on the device?
I set it from the router. Yeah.
Okay. That's how I like to do it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
Is
makes it
just
really clean and
yeah,
easy. So
for
yeah,
sure.
that's typically how I've been doing it so far. And Synology makes it pretty easy to do. And I think a lot of the open source routers also make it pretty easy to do that way. One thing that's been really nice about this router here um, is that there's some really nice like controls. So for each kid, each person in the house, right, they can have their own profile. So you can see how long have their devices been on. You can make sure that, say for kids, their internet access turns off at a certain time, right? All of that, you can kind of monitor all of that and keep things running at a router level instead of some separate app somewhere, which is pretty awesome. I've noticed that a lot of the open source ones, not PF Sense, but I'm trying to remember the other one right
I
now.
use OpenSense.
Yeah, I think it's Open Sense. Um, that one's pretty good about having some built-in controls like that as well. And then there was another one, I think it's the one that uh they're building the router software off of, um that has some of that in the background of it as well. So I don't know. There's just options. I'm not in a super big hurry to get it upgraded, but I would like to upgrade it before it dies completely. You know?
So I was as we're talking, I was looking at the specs. It's actually looks like a really still a solid product without a doubt.
Yeah.
My guess is probably, considering you are a bit of a hardware addict and you probably do a lot of things, you might
Mm.
be pushing the limit a little bit more than maybe most consumers would. That might be the reason. Because it
That
does have
that could be, yeah.
does have 100 device limit,
Yeah,
which
so I definitely think I'm pushing the CPU on it a little bit more because I've got the two LANs now coming in, plus it's doing a processing of
mhm.
keeping the different profiles separate. So that does add to its load and its processing power to keep the load balancing going. So it's not like it's overworking by any means of the imagination. But like I said, I've noticed a few hiccups in here recently where I wasn't having them before. And so
I'm not sure would be a good drop-in solution. I mean, I have a very unique configuration here because I have multiple buildings, and so I have to have
right.
access points, and I have, well, I have closer to 200 devices, I would say, on my network.
Mm.
So,
And I
but
don't have
my
anywhere near that because I'm not doing Internet of Things devices, right? So
right.
it's running the TVs, it's running the computers, it's running phones and tablets and stuff. So as far as like the sheer amount of hardware on it, there's really not that much. I would love to, like, the advantage of a router upgrade would maybe get some increased speeds there across the Wi-Fi network in general, though I do have this system hardwired in because I am pushing large files with it. When I've taken the T-Mobile router to the build room for work, I'm still hardwiring that in because it does have two LAN ports on it. So I do that as much as possible in general. One of the ones that I've looked at that has really, really good reviews is the GLI net. And that one does have open source built into it. I've seen a lot of places, like a lot of reviews on it. That's pretty good. Is it something that I would get without talking to Bill first? Absolutely not. But it does look like it has some really nice built-in features to it as well. We'll see, because their latest one is the Flint 3. I'm definitely one of those people that in general it's gonna take me a while to actually decide on something. So looking at it sooner definitely doesn't hurt by any means. And then we have a resident network person that without a doubt I'd be getting his feedback on all of that before making a purchase. One of the cool things about GLINet is they have travel routers, which have definitely intrigued me. So they are set up to use if your hotel room, whatever, and being able to route things through your own little router for privacy, to be able to say, hey, I'm not only using like their network here, but being able to add your phone or different ways to connect, even using their Wi-Fi if you don't have like a hard line into the room to be able to do that. So
Do those have the ability also to like add like 'cause I've never heard of these before, but can you do LAN and wireless connection uplinks?
yes,
And then can
on
you
on
also
the
do
travel
cellular?
router for sure you can. Uh-huh. Yes.
Will it do cellular uplinks too?
It will do cellular. I
It's like
think that one
an
has to be
AT&T or
tethered though.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think that one doesn't have an actual port on it. They do have, I had been looking at some other routers that do have cellular directly on them, and that was another thing that I was kind of looking at, was being able to have a router that I could just hard line Starlink into and then take the SIM card and pop it in there. The downside is when I go to travel with it, I then have to take the SIM card out, put it back in that, and then
Right.
potentially travel with it.
I just
So I
I'm
think it was
just
the
had some
Peplink.
thoughts. Yeah.
The Peplink was the one that I was looking at that you did have a SIM card slot. The biggest downside of that one was the expense, right? It was definitely not a cheap router. I think that one's like $500 in and of itself. But it would let you hardline. It would let you do like putting a SIM card in it. It did say that it was T-Mobile certified, though I do believe they have cellular routers. Yes, so GLINet does have cellular routers as well, but like I said, they're also expensive. I think to get a cellular router in general, they're definitely more on the expensive side. I think this one still like AT&T T-Mobile certified. But I think this one was closer to like 350. You end up with less LAN ports on it, which is a bummer. So if you're using it as your main router, you're going to rely on having some different boxes and stuff that can distribute it, unless you're going all Wi-Fi on it. So it is an option. It is something I did look into. I just worry about, since I'm now like taking it back and forth, I don't want to damage the SIM card, popping it in and out on a regular
Right.
basis.
No, I'd be interested in if something can do all three, and I have some reasons behind it, and but I don't want to belabor the whole thing. But that'd be one
I'd be
for traveling.
curious off the show, yeah.
Yeah, yep. That's really cool. Actually, I didn't even know these existed until just now. So this is very cool,
Woohoo!
and I think, man, both of you are enablers.
I
It's not
know, right?
It's not like I'm going to buy a router and two Atari VCS consoles in one day.
At the same
So,
time. Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. I don't know. I
Nate might be
actually like
catching.
thought about
Nate might be
getting
catching
the
up.
I thought about getting the one that can do cellular directly and then use it kind of like I am the AT&T one right now, because then I know for sure like I could have Wi-Fi turned completely off, but then like that's an additional expense of buying like this router plus another regular router, but at the same time like that AT&T router it's chunky, like it's big, and when I'm repacking it back up in the box that it came in, but like that's a large thing to then pack with me. So I don't know, I can't make up my mind as to what I'm going to do, but those are all options for you as well. You're welcome. I'm glad to have helped and not helped at the same time. Yeah.
Yep. Not helped and helped at the same time. That's actually a very good way of putting it. That's correct.
Wendy, you
Yeah.
informed him and you helped him see the light on what required to crowbar his wallet open.
Yes, exactly. And as I would tell you, like, since you have a line to bill as well, that just I would double check, like they look good, the reviews I've seen is good, but it's kind of like buying a used car. Unless I was taking it to a mechanic that I trust, I wouldn't buy it anymore. I'm kind of the same way with routers, unless
Mm-hmm.
it's been deemed by the network guy that I trust. I wouldn't necessarily buy it either. So I jumped the gun a little bit earlier on game of the week, but now it actually is the game of the week section, and I'm kind of curious as to what you have for us and what kind of jokes Nate is going to crack on this one.
He didn't even pause his game to be here because I've been watching him
I don't
You've
know
been
what you're
watching him
talking
play.
about.
around.
I have totally not been running benchmarks at all. What are you talking about?
No, never.
Mm-hmm.
So this game, it's going to be divisive because whether or not you like AI. So
Okay.
two things. I did not play this on Linux, so I cannot speak to it. I used it on the Surface Book 3.
Okay.
So I cannot speak to how it plays specifically on Linux. The only way I can really explain this game is take certain aspects of the old 90s FMV games where you were kind of the silent protagonist and like you would get talked to by the characters into the camera, and the only way you could interact was maybe some preconditioned like sentences or something, and then the only other way you could maybe interact with them was some type of like highlighted thing in the environment of the FMV. This takes that and kind of flips it on its head. You can actually respond when you're asked the question. You can actually respond to the situations, the problems that become involved in this. It is very interactive. Some people will call it like a video game version of Chat GPT or Llama or whatever version of AI you currently want to use. I would say it's a little different. This gives me a glimpse of what I could possibly see for game characters and kind of character gamer interaction. Whether or not you like that style, that's totally up to you. But so the premise of this, and I'm not going to call it game, it's more of a tech demo in my kind of opinion, just because of how it works. Uh, it basically boils down to helping this stranded astronaut on a foreign planet after crash landing on it. That's kind of the gist of the game. So various puzzles and stuff will be brought up, but there's no one right way to solve the problems or puzzles or how the conversations are determined or any of that kind of stuff. So like you can come up with a solution. There's like one of the puzzles you have to cross a river. There's a variety of solutions that I found for it because I have about 11 hours into this because I was just trying to kind of poke at the language model to see how well this actually worked. And surprisingly, it works fairly well. Um, so the solutions were kind of many. Like you could tell the character to observe what was downstream. You could tell the character to observe what was upstream. Go check that. One of the solutions was, hey, look at the whirlpools to see what direction they're going. So the solution I came up with was, if you do a lot of nature stuff, go upstream. You'll usually find where it's less shallow, less rapids, blah 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 blah, all that kind of stuff. She was complaining about being worried about slipping or whatever. Cool. There's a bunch of sticks. Go make some walking sticks so you can dig them into the ground and into the gravel in case you feel like you're gonna slip. Um, she ends up doing that in the solution. Puzzle solved. The other playthrough, I had her cross a fallen down tree that was downstream. So like there is a wide berth of stuff that you can do.
But it
That's
still
just one
keeps
example.
you moving throughout the game. Because what I was thinking when you originally started talking about this was like, okay, if it's that open ended in the dialogue and stuff, how do they keep you moving through the set points that
So
they have to have
yeah,
in the
yeah,
game?
yeah. So there's set points. Like there's a beginning end situation,
Yeah.
but there's also an after the end kind of situation where it's just kind of general conversation.
Okay.
You the way you communicate is through a drone, ironically, uh, that is kind of providing the lifeline of answers and kind of stuff that they
All right.
need essentially. Um, but the one hookup that most people will have with this is the fact that it defaults because it requires an online connection. So there is this. It
Mm.
requires an online internet connection because of using AI. And the AI is default in as far as your end user license agreement and are you going to use all are you going to help us improve? You're defaulted into that. You can unsubscribe to that. So they
Okay.
do give you the ability to not be involved in that. Some people have complained about the privacy policy. The way I look at that is I look at the privacy policy and say it's about every other privacy policy that I've seen as it relates to AI. If you
Yeah.
use it, expect your voice. It's no different than when you use Google Voice, Gmail, prior AI things, virtual assistants, anything from Amazon because they want to capture everything you do. Same with Google, same with Apple. So what you're willing to give up, that's for you to determine.
Right.
I wanted to see what the tech demo was, essentially. And for what it is, it's really interesting to see what the possibility is in the future. Whether or not you're gonna like it, that's up to you. At $7, I got 11 hours out of this, poking around at various angles and kind of solutions and stuff to
Yeah.
problems and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because
So
right
to
now
me,
it's on sale until August 28th. So
yeah,
when this show releases, it'll still be on sale. And don't worry about it. Like, they do have a
mhm.
demo. So if you want to do their other little demo, make sure everything works before you buy it. Plus, it's Steam. Like, if you decide you buy
Yeah,
it and you don't like it, they're good at refunds, that kind of
and
way. But
the game is short enough. If you don't like it, you will know it. um,
gotcha.
so there's other interactions, like there'll be interaction times in between, where it's all just text, but you can use your voice to kind of do Google voice to text kind of stuff for it, as opposed to typing it,
Hmm.
if you so choose. um in between kind of the scenarios for puzzles that you're given as general conversation pieces and stuff. So
Okay.
again, it's an interesting tech demo of where AI can potentially take gaming. Eh, Again, privacy policy notwithstanding.
Right.
So depending, this is why I say it depends how you feel about AI.
Well, I'm guessing that the popularity of this game is based on the fact that you are helping an astronaut female with a suit that doesn't look like it's a big bag like astronauts would actually wear. So the other thing too is very high pitched voice. Now I feel like a 45-year-old, hairy man, I'm sure you're probably not
I,
going to be
I
quite
haven't
as interested in
actually
helping them
listened to
out.
her voice.
Yeah,
Oh God.
it's kind of high. It's higher pitched because of Anyway, uh, so yeah, obviously AI. I don't know. Like I listened just a couple, like while you were blathering, I was listening to some of the little clips there, and I'm just like, a little creepy. But again, I don't speak for everybody; I just speak for myself. I probably won't try it because I don't know. There's something uncanny valley about it. Like it looks undead, kind of weird, androidy. I don't know what. So not for me, but definitely interesting. And it's an interesting tech demo, I would say for sure. Yeah, but I can see why you like it. Yeah, I can see why you like it. It's there's no
Oh God.
question as to your interest in this game.
Oh yeah, totally, Nate. That was my only interest in this game.
Yeah, but interesting. All things considered, definitely a technological interesting thing. I I don't. I mean this nicely. I don't. I have a hard enough time talking to real people, like taking the time to like be properly social. I don't think I can be properly social to an AI in this regard
Nate,
either.
that would insinuate that you even try to be properly social with normal people.
Oh, I try. I fail, but I try. At least I give it the old
Hmm.
Boy Scout try.
While Nate is flagging on game choices as he always does, because it wouldn't be wouldn't be the show without him ragging on games that I always choose of not his flavor or not his type. Though I did have 2 Atari VCSs that he just purchased, so there's that. So I win.
They're going to be limited to non-creepy AI games.
Yeah, whether or not I believe he's another story. You seem to be designing and printing stuff some more, Nate. I should say I'm not surprised for your Framework 13.
Yes. So I've talked quite positively of the framework 13 for some time, and one of my issues with the framework is, and one of the things that like Apple seems to always have are like cases and such, and so we're using these, and I would say at work in the corporate environment, some of these machines are in areas that they could get a few more bumps and scratches maybe than like a regular office machine would have. So I've been working on designing a top and bottom case for it. So here's like just kind of I 3D printed this out of TPU 95A, and so I'm still kind of working out the design and some of the printing parameters. I don't like the final isn't great yet. But this is the best I have so far. I'm also not sure how thick to make these, but the way I took advantage of some of the elements of the like of the computer itself, where there's a little bit of a lip here between the metal piece and then where the plastic bezel is for the monitor. And so this basically kind of stretches and around that pretty well. I have one actually being utilized in the plant right now in Michigan. But it's got a little bit of a bump to it, little bumper essentially right now. I don't have the bottom done yet, but I'm also working on the bottom as well. And since there are magnets built into this, I would like to be able to have something that actually holds itself on there. So I got some little metal bits that I'm going to add to the lower portion to kind of keep it in place. I don't have that done yet or printed, obviously, since you don't see it. Otherwise, you would see it. But I do have to take into account, the vents, and then also some of these aspects too. I can probably come up over this button here, maybe. I don't know yet. I don't have that all worked out yet. But since Framework does release the CAD for it, I can very easily make it around there. But I want to make it so I don't have to use double-sided sticky tape to hold it on, and use like magnets instead. But I'm kind of based on how I tried doing magnets up here, but just wasn't quite good enough. And so I just have like it held with tension. So when opening it, if I don't put enough pressure this way, it does kind of sort of pop up a little bit. It won't come off, but it does. It just, to me, doesn't feel great. And I don't know if maybe I should try a slightly stiffer material. So I haven't had a lot of time to work on this in the last week or so, but it is something I'm doing just kind of give my, because when I walk on the plant floor, sometimes, it can you can very easily bump into some sharp piece of metal or stainless steel or something. And I want to just make sure I don't ding this up on the edges any more than I already have, and kind of keep it. And then I'm debating whether or not how I should release the CAD for this or that. But anyway, so just something I've been working on. I've printed quite a few of these, and I have one on my son's computer as well. But they're actually they do print out pretty strong. But I don't know if you can kind of see this. You probably can't because of the color. But I've tried different ways of like different seams on this. I've done like random, like per layer, and that leaves me with like little bumps all the way around it. I've also done just one spot, and then I have this weirdness on one end, and I don't quite have the don't have quite things quite dialed in yet. So,
Well,
but I
and I
would like
know
to.
if I'm printing with TPU, I really have to make sure I have it dried like just before I print with it, because that'll
Mhm.
make a huge difference for me.
So
But
I do have them in a drying
yeah.
thing, and then they when they're in the printer itself, it's also in a dry box as well. So,
So yeah, that shouldn't be an issue.
and also whether I print with brand new TPU or not, it doesn't seem to change. It's like a little
Make
bit
a
of
difference.
smush sometimes, but anyway,
Yeah.
that's the thing I've been working on. I have one that I'm happy with for me, but I wouldn't be happy necessarily for somebody else to have it. So, anyway, but I think I'll probably send one when I do another revision. I'll probably send one to Eris, who helps me out on Linux Saloon a lot. So I'll send him one just to kind of try out and criticize once I get everything all situated, like what would be better or whatever for it. So anyway, that's what I've been working on, and it's taking a lot of time, but I made progress, and it doesn't look like it. Looks very simple, very unexciting, but getting that tension right, the little the snap on kind of tension is
Yeah.
little fickle.
Trial and error. Lots of trial and error.
Yeah, a lot of denial and error. So speaking of denial, you got some old laptops. I don't know what that has to do with the denial. Do you deny that
Yeah,
they're
we've
old?
got some old laptops. So as I let everybody know last time, we actually got some laptops donated to us to upgrade what we were using for camp. So now I have this stack of older Dell laptops. I'm not even sure what CPU they're running, but they're definitely on the older side. They only have 4 gigs of RAM. They're still running spinning Rust, right? But now I'm not entirely sure what to do with them. Matt found a recycling place that's about an hour and a half away from me, so that might be a really good idea. We've thought about, just pulling out the hard drives on them and then taking them to competitions with us and saying, hey, these aren't the newest laptops, but if you need something, maybe they're the ones that can kind of get you guys through. Might be a good use for them. I'm not entirely sure. Obviously they can't have Windows on them, where that's about to go out of date anyway, Windows 10, because I believe they were upgraded to 10. I don't know. I didn't use them that much, other than they were just launching the programs off of them in order to use them at camps with the old robots. But I would like to at least see them be recycled, have them used by people who can use them. Because I know there's teams out there that sometimes struggle to have working laptops. Now they are chunky, and the biggest downside of it, a lot of them, is the batteries aren't really good on them anymore either. So they have to be continually plugged into power. But if it allows the team to get through part of a season, until they can find something else, that might be worth it. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing with this stack of old Dell laptops, but we've got a stack in the build room that I've got to figure out what to do with next.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some teams out there that would even a machine that doesn't have a great battery. Battery could probably be replaced.
Yeah,
Possibly,
in those ones, they can definitely be replaced. I know last summer, before we used them for their last year in camps, we went through and thermal pasted all of them. So that's actually been done pretty recently. So
okay. Yeah, I mean, I said, do you know what CPUs those have in them? So
I don't remember what's in them. I'll be back at the build room on Thursday, so I'll write myself a little note and to figure out what it is, and then hopefully drop it somewhere in here so you listeners, watchers can to check to see what that is. They probably run a heck of a lot better if they had a solid state drive in them. I think part of the issues you were running into, without a doubt, is the fact that they were on solid state drives, and it doesn't help that there's 4 gigs of RAM in them. Right now, your average browser isn't going to do great with that because they're so RAM heavy. I'm not even sure what I'd throw on there for someone. Maybe Zorin Light. Like if I'm just passing them out, maybe Zorin Light's a good option. And I kind of like that one because they kind of have the built-in, oh, you're trying to install a Windows exe, and kind of guides them through that. It kind of has some of that pre-set up of, I'm just handing someone a laptop randomly and being like, here you go, do this to solve your issue. And that might help them walk them through some of the stuff when I'm not around. I don't know.
Could huge fan of Bazite. Bazite's pretty cool, but doesn't have those kind of things. So
well, and this is definitely not going to be a gaming system by any stretch of the imagination.
no, but it would be a nice. You don't have to do like the Steam thing initially. Well, whatever. Yeah, Zorin's good.
Zorin's a good choice.
Why they still have Zorin Light, right? Because it's one of those ones that they're talking about getting rid of. Unfortunately, Zorin Light is still what's running on the kitchen system right now. So, and it's because it's XFCE. I think. I don't remember. It might be XFCE. I'd have to go look at the documentation again. So don't quote me on that.
Well, that's a problem for future Wendy to figure out.
Right, that's a problem for future Wendy. Now it's your turn to jack into the conversation. Hit the discourse form, drop us a message under this video, or use the contact form at tuxdigital.com/contact. Want to hang out with us in the digital world? Check out our preferred social media links in the show description. And don't forget, you can find other great shows like Sudo Show, Destination Linux, and Linux Saloon at tuxdigital.com. Show off your love for your open source rebellion with some Tux Digital merch. Maybe you'll support the gamer-centric I Pause My Game to Be Here shirt, or join hashtag Team Wendy with some sinister Wendy swag.
Hashtag Agent Smith, evil.
No.
Or it should be hashtag I still don't pause my game to be here.
Right,
Yes,
should be. Yes, that's what it should be. 100%.
I don't
Talk
know what
my
you're
new
talking
A-
about. I
talk
would
about-
never.
Talk to my new AI girlfriend stranded in space shirt.
As always, we thank you for following the White Rabbit with us. We'll be back next time with another awesome episode of Linux Out Loud. Until then, keep the banter friendly, the conversation somewhat on topic. And remember, there is no spoon.